back once again. AD on the radio.
Flitter, it's you and the senorita. Whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Knocking the mama seat top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme sayer. Running game like a cheater, I'm balling.
So it is that time of year. Money's sort of too tight to mention for a lot of people. Why? Because it's January, and you know what happens in January? Well, first and foremost, you're staring down the barrel of another tax season where you are about to be unceremoniously bent over without the benefit of lube by Uncle Scam. You might have to fork over some more loot, so you got to prepare for that. Plus, all the holiday bills are coming in, all those credit card purchases you made in December that seemed like a great idea because, you know what, by gosh, by golly, you'd elbowed 3 other parents in the face to get your kid the right tickle me whatever, and you're going to give it to him, and it was going to feel great. And then you look at the credit card bill and go, I'm not so sure about this. And a time where money is too tight to mention. It's interesting to note that Oprah freaking Winfrey. Did you see this? Did you hear about this?
Is that her middle name now?
Oprah freaking Winfrey. It is. You know what? Moving forward, freaking will be her middle name as far as I'm concerned because she posted a video. Something that we do like all the time. Post little videos. Hey, this is my dog Millhouse. We're about to go on the air. Talk to you soon, or whatever we do. Except she posted a video about bread that made her $12 million in an hour.
This is the joy for me. I love bread. I love bread. I now just manage it, so I don't deny myself bread. I have bread every day. I have bread every day. That's the genius of this program. I lost 26 pounds, and I have eaten bread every single day.
30-second ad for Weight Watchers. Over the next hour after she posted it, Weight Watchers shares grew more than 16%, according to the folks over at MarketWatch.com. Oprah owns just under 6.4 million shares, and that boosted her earnings to $12 million, all because of that. I wonder if it's like, if you own, at what point does it become sort of like manipulation? You know, sort of like, not insider trading, but it's just like, what nobody knows is I'm going to make a video about eating bread, and it's going to grow this company like you wouldn't freaking believe. And she has the power. She has the power to make millions and millions of dollars with a 30-second video for a company that she owns a decent hunk of. And I wonder if any way, shape, or form that starts to look sketchy. I mean, you know, it would seem that in this laissez-faire free market economy that America is ideally supposed to be, it would be allowed. But it also is kind of like, could that possibly be construed as insider trading? Like, if you get a tip as to when Oprah Winfrey is going to post her next video about how much she loves the occasional baguette, then there's a very good chance that you stand to make an awful lot of money. I wonder how that all works out. It's an interesting one. For sure. Now, I know that for people like me and Funkhauser, we've started to find ourselves in a financial situation where we are what? Still broke, yet adults. And that sucks. You know, you're supposed to be broke when you're a kid. It's cool, it's charming, it's funny, it's rootsy, it's folksy to be broke when you're a teenager and in your 20s. But as you start to beat the crap out of your 30s and you're still going, okay, dollar menu. Ooh, yes, you do still taste like shame. It starts to be a lot less fun, as pointed out by comedian Jennifer Murphy, who talked about being broke and too old to party.
I gotta stop partying. I'm getting old. Is there an age limit to that kind of behavior? Whenever I think I should stop, I always get that mentality where I'm like, but you gotta party like there's no tomorrow. Right? What if I was dying tomorrow? I was just like, I should have had that last shot of Fireball. I'm getting old. I just cut these stupid bangs. It's like the poor girl's Botox. I see lines on my face. I'm just like, covered up. Broke. I'm so broke I still go shopping at my parents' house when they're not home. Just like, they're not going to miss that roll of toilet paper. I don't know. I just want to be a whore so badly. That's my new goal. I mean, I haven't liked most of the guys I slept with anyway. So I'm like, if you could just leave some money. I have a bedside table.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a less morally ambiguous way to make cash, there's always this. You can win $1,000 from Real Radio 104.1 every single day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Start the year off right. Cash in. Win $1,000. Listen to Real Radio 104.1 weekdays 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Text the keyword you hear to 45495 for your chance to win. New keyword announced each hour, giving you another shot at $1,000. Take the Twitter poll I posted. Is Donald Trump right to bail on the debate tonight? We'll talk about this next.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want.
So Donald Trump said he probably won't show up to the Republican debate because Megyn Kelly from Fox News is one of the moderators and they refuse to replace her. He said that they're just trying to build up ratings. Fox said Trump needs to grow up. Here he is talking about it.
Megyn Kelly's really biased against me. She knows that. I know that. Everybody knows that. Do you really think she can be fair at a debate?
Ted Cruz has challenged the Donald to a one-on-one debate. And you and I have talked about this before. Like, say you were the best in the world at pogo sticking, Funkhauser, and you and I had a disagreement over something.
I am the best there is at pogo sticking, AD. Did you know that about me?
Well, I do now. And here's the thing. If you and I have some sort of disagreement over something and we figure we're going to settle it in some way, and you go, okay, I challenge you to a pogo sticking competition. And I go, but, aren't you like the world's best pogo sticker? It doesn't really seem fair and it doesn't seem germane to the issue. And you go, all right. And then we have another disagreement. And again, you choose to settle it by pogo sticking. And I'm like, that seems a little bit old. Ted Cruz was a celebrated debater. And yes, debating is an integral part of the political process. But this is his whole thing. Man.
Let's do it.
He always falls back.
Come on. I challenge you. Let's go.
Very good.
Come on, I'm waiting right here. Come on, buddy.
But once more. Ted Cruz, was, I don't know, king high commander in the world of debates when he went to college, and he was very, very good at it. But that's his whole thing. And like, I'll take you on, Mr. President, a debate anytime, anywhere. It's like arm wrestling or something, or pogo sticking if you're a Funkhauser. And, well, Ted Cruz challenged Donald Trump to a one-on-one debate. He really wanted a piece of the Trump, and the Trump doesn't look like he's showing up. And he said Trump is afraid to go to the debate, which is why he backed out. And he says he owes it to the people of Iowa to take their questions. Here's Cruz.
I think every candidate for president owes it to the voters, and in particular owes it to the men and women of Iowa, to go and humble yourself and put yourself before them and answer their hard questions. Nobody's going to get elected president from a TV studio in Manhattan or New York. And the fact that Donald is now afraid to appear on the debate stage, that he doesn't want his record questions, I think that reflects a lack of respect for the men and women of Iowa. So I would like to invite him on your show to participate in a one-on-one debate between me and Donald, mano a mano. Now, we could do it a number of ways. We could have you moderated, Mark. We could have Sean Hannity moderated. We could have Rush Limbaugh moderated. But you know what? If he's afraid of Megyn Kelly, if he's afraid of you and afraid of Hannity and afraid of Rush, then we could do it without any moderators whatsoever. I'm happy to go an hour and a half, mano a mano, me and Donald, with no moderators, anytime before the Iowa caucuses.
You and me.
What a candidate who actually wants to work for the people, wants to earn the support of the people will do, is just stand up and defend your record. By the way, he's been saying this past week that he thinks I'm stupid. That he should do very, very well in a debate with someone who's so stupid, away from moderators that he is so afraid of.
Yeah. I mean, you got 10 out of 10 for tenacity with Ted Cruz on that one. And he always defaults to, like, I challenge you to a debate, as Funkhauser would, in a pogo sticking situation. But it's not really. Look, you know and I know, and Ted Cruz knows and Donald Trump knows, and we all are aware of the fact that he's not showing up for a one-on-one debate with Ted Cruz. This is Ted Cruz, this is Ted Cruz artfully getting a little bit of airtime for himself. He's sort of positioning himself in sort of, I don't know. You ever read that book? I think it's the 48 Laws of Power. It was written by a playwright, guy called Robert Greene. And for a while, the hip-hop community in the late 90s and early 2000s was very taken with it. And it's basically a lot of hooey because it's a guy who's a playwright and not a very big one, I don't think, writing a book about power, which then went on to be a bestseller. So I suppose he might have some of that now. But here's the thing. What's interesting about the 48 Laws of Power is that there's a historical precedent for every single law, and it goes back to feudal Japan and China and places like that. And it's very interesting from a historical perspective to read these 48 Laws of Power. It's a fun read. It's not something you should take too seriously, but it is a fun read, especially if you're a bit of a history buff. But one of the laws of power in this book is elevate yourself to the status of the biggest guy in the room by attacking him. And, that's unquestionably what Cruz is doing here. Well, Donald Trump is doing that thing now where he's removing himself from the debate or saying that he's going to remove himself from the debate. And if he does that, he's doing what Hillary did at the very beginning, where you're not running for president, you're standing for president. You're like, I'm just going to stand over here, do my thing outside of everything else, and people can come to me. And it's definitely a power move and one that few people could successfully make. And Donald Trump has made that power move by suggesting he's going to remove himself. You know what? I'm too big. I don't need to do what everybody else is doing. I'm too big. I'm too successful. No, I don't need it. Just fine without it. I don't have to lower myself to talking to these chuckleheads and being moderated by those chuckleheads. And Ted Cruz is artfully going after him by being like, oh yeah, anytime, anywhere, any place, dude. And he's getting some good traction off of it. So, well played, I guess, Ted Cruz. More on this and Megyn Kelly's response to all of it shortly. Thanks so much for hanging out. Join the conversation at ADSXE at Funk FM.
It means it's not how you use it. You gave it a shot, you tried your best just suck without enough. So hang it up, just give it up. It's time somebody let you know that you will never be good enough. You will never be one of us. You will never be good enough. You know why? Your band sucks, and you're going nowhere, and that's why I'm not real. Radio 104.1.
Like most kids from a privileged white upper-middle-class suburban background, for a significant portion of his childhood, he was pretty convinced he was down. AD on the radio.
Yeah, oh, let's go. Talking that mess, better act like you know. Oh, let's go tonight. Walk away, punk, yeah, bitch. That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk bitch. You're nothing but a punk bitch. So walk away, yeah, yeah. You've been talking about me for a long time.
So, if you're just joining us, Donald Trump says he's probably not going to show to the Republican debate on Fox News. Why? Because the network made his nemesis, Megyn Kelly, one of the moderators, and they refused to replace her. Trump claimed Fox is trying to build up ratings. He called Megyn, quote, a third-rate reporter who's really biased against him. Fox said Trump needs to grow up. Spokesperson joked, we learned from a secret back channel that the Ayatollah and Putin both intend to treat Donald Trump unfairly when they meet him if he becomes president. A nefarious source tells us that Trump has his own secret plan to replace the cabinet with his Twitter followers to see if he should even go to those meetings, which is, of course, a jab at Trump for using social media to ask if he should go to the debate. I asked, I use social media to help discern whether or not Trump should go to the debate. You can take the Twitter poll that's up on my feed at ADSXE. Is Donald Trump right to bail on the Fox News debate? Please explain why you think so. Got some interesting answers. 38% of folks say yes, he is right to bail on the debate. 62% say no. And there's a few hours left to vote.
Ooh,
so go cast your vote. I'm interested to see what you think.
That's a good poll right there.
That is a good poll. That's a great poll. Fox also backed Megyn Kelly in the dispute. They had her back. They said Megyn Kelly is an excellent journalist, and the entire network stands behind her. She will absolutely be on the debate stage. And here's what's interesting. After Trump announced that he would not participate in the debate, his campaign released the following statement. And you know what? The way this is written says to me that Trump does his own work. He writes his own statements. I'm either whoever.
How so?
How so? Well, just picture this in Trump's voice. Like either he's got someone on staff writing for him that so understands the way he speaks, or he writes his own stuff. And the statement goes, as someone who wrote one of the best-selling business books of all time, The Art of the Deal, who has built an incredible company, huge, I'm adding huge in there, including some of the most valuable and iconic assets in the world, and as someone who has a personal net worth of many billions of dollars, Mr. Trump knows a bad deal when he sees one. Fox News is making tens of millions of dollars on debates and setting ratings records, the highest in history, whereas in previous years they were low-rated afterthoughts. Unlike the very stupid, highly incompetent people running our country into the ground. Doesn't it sound like him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Trump knows when to walk away.
Dear losers.
Fox News thinks they can toy with him, but Mr. Trump doesn't play games. There have already been 6 debates, and according to all the online debate polls, including Drudge, Slate, Time Magazine, and many others, Mr. Trump has won all of them, in particular the last one. Whereas he has always been a job creator and not a debater, he nevertheless truly enjoys the debating process, and it has been very good for him, both in polls and in popularity. He will not be participating in the Fox News debate and will instead host an event in Iowa to raise money for the veterans and wounded warriors who have been treated so horribly by our all-talk, no-action politicians, like running for office as an extremely successful person. This takes guts, and it is the kind of mentality our country needs in order to make America great again. There you go. Funkhauser, do you think he's right to bail on the debate?
Yeah, publicity stunt. Yeah, sure. Doesn't he do that kind of stuff all the time? Look at me, I'm not there. Ha ha ha.
Well, I think,
I think he's kind of headhunting for Megyn Kelly. I don't like that. I don't like seeing other guys go after, people in the media.
Well, either Trump is throwing a tantrum and is obsessed with the power he may have to take away ratings, or he figures he's got too much to lose in risking another face-off with Megyn Kelly on a big stage. Now, what I think is kind of interesting about the fact that he's hell-bent on saying, I am the reason for all the ratings. What's interesting, I don't know if Trump's fully considered, is the fact that the ratings are going to be huge if he shows up, for sure, because people will want to see the fireworks. And if he chooses not to show up, the ratings will be huge because people want to see that, like, in his absence, everyone, literally everyone, every single candidate who hasn't been able to get a word in edgewise because Donald Trump has taken a Trump all over everybody, everyone will be taking shots at Trump left, right, and center. So either he shows up and people are going to want to see, or he doesn't show up and people are going to want to see what happens. Now, here's the thing. They might tune in for the first half hour or the first however many minutes and go like, it's not as exciting without Trump. But as Trump would say, I can tell you this. Is that what he says? Or believe you me. If he doesn't show up, people are going to want to see exactly what the hell is going on when he is noticeably absent, because people are going to be going after him like you wouldn't freaking believe. It's the opening that Jeb Bush has been waiting for. It's the opening that Ted Cruz has been waiting for. All they have to do is go, I showed up. Must mean I care. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this all plays out. Whether he shows up or whether he doesn't show up, this is, I don't know if I'd consider it politics, but I feel kind of like we are part of a humongous SNL sketch.
What would you do?
What would I, if I was Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Take my billions and stay home. You have to be crazy to want to be president of the United States of America. You're basically just, I mean, look, I get it. I think that Donald Trump, he has a legendary ego, and I don't think he would debate that. I don't think he would dispute that. He is the kind of guy who I think can talk himself into needing to do big things. What's the biggest thing I can be? President of the United States of America. That's the biggest thing I can be. I've done everything else. I've had the casinos. I've been a real estate mogul. I've been a best-selling author. I've been a TV star. I've been all these things, and they haven't satiated my need for recognition. They haven't satiated my need to be taken seriously. They haven't satiated my overall desire for validation. What would do that? Maybe being president of the United States of America. Okay, I'm going to take a shot at it. And then along the line, I think with Trump it started, being president's huge. I want to be that. And then I think he might have started thinking, I could be a good president. Wouldn't be enough just to get elected. I have to go down in history as the greatest president ever. And I honestly believe that Donald Trump thinks he could be the greatest president ever. He thinks he could be a very successful president that is looked back on throughout history as being, the Winston Churchill of his time. I think that's what he's setting himself up to be. I think he read the Churchill biography and he's like, you know what? I'm walking with destiny. That's me. We will never surrender. And by the way, I would absolutely, if I was Trump's press secretary, start equating him more with Winston Churchill. We've talked about this before on the show, but there was a guy that history could not revere more. A guy who was, in fact, walking with destiny. A guy who changed the very course of history. A guy who defeated the tyrant known as Adolf Hitler through the strength of his will, in many ways. And I think Trump sees himself as someone who could do that. He keeps comparing himself to past American presidents. He should just go Winston Churchill, because Winston Churchill, despite all those things that he had going for him, despite the fact that he was one of the greatest speech makers of all time, despite the fact that he was, in fact, walking with destiny, as he said, he was known for being wildly politically incorrect. It's that whole Winston Churchill thing. Sir, you are drunk. Madam, I may be drunk, but you are ugly. And when I wake up in the morning, I will be sober, and you will still be ugly. Or something like that Churchill's famous for saying. It's right up there with Trump. And, I said it before. I will say it again. The folks that are in charge of Trump's campaign need to start equating him with Winston Churchill before they do too much else. But it'll be tremendously interesting to see what happens. But no, I wouldn't be running for president in the first place. You insane? You got to be crazy to think you could do a good job at that. But, unfortunately, people are crazy. Did you see do you see Obama on Comedians in Cars getting coffee? That's so the way Obama's going. I think he's completely checked out. He just wants to go on people's shows and be clever and funny, and maybe have his own show and be clever and funny. And he's swinging for the fences on a couple things as his presidency really, really starts to wind down. But I think that's where he's headed. He liked to go on the Mark Maron podcast. He liked to go on Jerry Seinfeld's internet show. I think he sees himself as a future member of the Algonquin Roundtable, and that's what's going to keep him happy. But I thought it was interesting when he went on Comedians in Cars getting coffee, and Jerry Seinfeld said, how many world leaders have you met that are just nuts, that are just crazy? Like, how many have you met? And he was just like, yeah, it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. Because you got to be crazy to think that it makes sense that you do this job. All right, then. So I don't know if you caught it or not. One of the rancher militia in Oregon got shot and killed yesterday. We're going to talk about what happened with that, or at least as much as we can tell, because, this is going to be an interesting one. There's another Making a Murderer true crime documentary to be made out of this. I think it can really capture the public imagination. I think people got bored of it because they're like, a bunch of guys with guns are taking over a wildlife reserve in a part of the country that no one goes to. Unless you're in Oregon, it doesn't really matter. So I think they captured the public imagination for a second, and then interest quickly died off. But things got really, really interesting yesterday when someone got shot and killed, and we'll get into that after we take a look at the events of today in our segment, My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair, certainly not balanced. Super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser. How are you, and what is going on in the world?
Yes, programming note. Tomorrow on the show, Christian James Hand.
Christian James Hand.
Ooh.
Who is Christian James? Christian James Hand is a guy that I worked with over at SiriusXM for a little while. He's a very talented radio host in his own right, but he's also got, real applicable life skills like being an engineer and being a record producer. But the reason we're having Christian James Hand on the show is he and I are kind of buddies because he's English. And unlike me, he held on to the accent. But back in the day, he was a tour manager for the Wu-Tang Clan and Gravediggers. And there was a time where he was, I don't want to give too much away, but there was a time where he was made a member of the Wu-Tang Clan, and he went on tour. This is before there were any other white rappers. He's a white guy. The comedy that ensued when he became a part-time member of the Wu-Tang Clan because others weren't showing up is incredible. And I look forward to having him on the show and having him, A, sit in and lending his considerable talent to what we're doing, but also telling the incredible story of the time that he became MC Skullcap. It's true. And I won't give any more away, but Christian James Hand on the show tomorrow, and we're really excited about it. What is going on in the world? How are you, Funkhauser? Everything good?
You know, I'm okay. I'm, like 60%. I think I'm coming out with something. You know what I'm saying?
Got a mild case of the sniffles? Should grow a beard.
I'm working on it. It takes me like 2-3 months.
But beards are good for your health.
Really?
Yeah. I think there's something about it in the news.
Oh, do you want to start there? Or
we can talk about your sniffles more. I'm just saying, I think in the news about how beards are good for your health. If you're coming down with a bite or case of the sniffles that you think might be turning into a head cold, perhaps you should go all hipster and grow for the full facial foliage.
Here we go. I just need a Pabst Blue Ribbon to go with it. Scientists used a computer to calculate a 22 million digit prime number.
Yep. The number just went on and on and on. Kind of like a Sarah Palin endorsement speech. Is it bad that I was watching a rerun of the old Muppet Show the other day and the Swedish Chef made more sense to me than Sarah Palin? I was like, trumpety bumpety. Seriously. Oh, God. Go on. What else?
A Russian woman emerged from the Siberian wilderness after being completely isolated from society for the past 40 years?
Whoa. Wow. I would imagine the Siberian wilderness is not an especially hospitable place either. It's cold.
Jumanji.
Crazy. Yeah, she's been isolated from society for the past 40 years. And yes, even she is sick of hearing Adele's hello. Go on.
Shootout in a Mississippi gun shop over a $25 service charge left 2 people dead.
Oh, wow. Over $25, people shot each other dead. I wonder if cops know who to charge, since everybody involved was a, quote, good guy with a gun. We'll talk about why it's healthy to grow a beard next. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Okay.
Gibberish, chatter, gushing, chewing the fat, and running off at the mouth. A cacophony of psychobabble and mindless conversations. Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
So one person is dead, one person is injured after a shootout between cops and the Oregon ranchers, the ones that occupied that wildlife reserve, commandeered a bunch of government vehicles in a we the people sort of move. What happened? A lot of people kind of lost stamina for paying attention to this because it's like, hey, a bunch of guys with guns have moved into a wildlife reserve. Are they terrorists? Are they a well-regulated militia? Yeah, you know what? They're over there. It seems more like a pain in the ass for the people of Oregon, and for that we're sorry, but we've got to get on with our own lives here in other parts of the country. Well, it all got a little bit more serious. It was kind of jokey for a little while. They were asking to be sent snacks. The cops said they were free to come and go as they want, but they're like, we need snack food. We need, if you could FedEx us stuff, that would be fantastic. And people started FedExing them love toys. Did you see that, Funkhauser?
Yeah.
Like large boxes of marital aids being sent to the ranchers, and they had to go like, please stop sending these. Trail mix, clean socks and underwear, stuff like that would be great. So crazy because they went into it going like, we're prepared to be here for a long time. And a week and a half in, they're like, we're out of underwear. And it's like, how prepared were you really? And like I said, it was kind of a jokey proposition until yesterday when someone got shot dead. And I think that's a shame. And I think that's a waste. And we'll talk about why in just a little bit after we finish going through the events of today in our segment, My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form, Bear, certainly not balanced. What else is going on in the world, Funkhauser?
I told you about beards, right?
Beards. Well, go
beards
on.
may be more resistant to bacteria than clean-shaven skin.
Yep. See, there you go. It's an interesting one because, like, if you are like Funkhauser and kind of getting the sniffles, you should grow a beard. Now, clearly, this is easier for some people than others. If you're a girl, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be at a bit of a disadvantage. Sorry. But if you're a guy, can you grow a real beard, Funkhauser?
Well, it takes me like 4 months to do it. Just call me Patchy. Pat me on the head.
Mine grows in all like patchy and weird, and then a lot of it just grows in really blonde, where it's like doesn't really match up with the rest of it, and it's not an attractive thing. I can't grow a real beard, unlike some of my friends who can just be like, and then it's like clean shaven to sort of Grizzly Adams in 0.0 seconds flat. But as it turns out, beards can be good for your health, especially this time of year, because beards may be more resistant to bacteria than clean shaven skin. Why? Because even germs hate hipsters. What else?
East Coast meteorologists were in the spotlight all weekend with coverage of the powerful blizzard.
Yeah. And it made me think a little bit about the gig of meteorologist. I was like, do we really need those anymore? I mean, we have phones now. Like, I can either stick my head out the window or I can look on my phone and I can get the AccuWeather forecast for the next 2.5 years. But I dug around and found out there are some perks other than being a big deal on local TV news to being a meteorologist. And these are, as best I can tell, I was like, why would anybody be a meteorologist in this day and age? And this is what I can tell. These are the perks. You can be wrong, but not get in as much trouble as Steve Harvey. You have that great bar pickup line about how many inches she can expect. You don't have to be right, since most people are watching your fake rack. And I think far and away the biggest advantage to being a meteorologist is that the biggest physical exertion you have to go through is pointing. All right, go on. What else?
You know about the water crisis in Flint, Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't been bad for everyone.
No, it has not. The water crisis in Flint, Michigan, though, I mean, it's bad news. Like, there are long-term ramifications for this. There's the lead content, which could not only affect the people that have been consuming it, but their children and their children's children. Like, this goes deep. This is a lot. This is people, yeah. We'll do entire shows on this, I think, as it all unfolds. But people's heads need to be on pikes, proverbially speaking, of course, for this one, because it's bad news. And boy, the people of Flint, Michigan, who don't have the easiest time of it in the first place, for the most part, have really been let down. Crazy. But like Funkhauser said, it hasn't been bad for everyone. Bill Cosby can now say there's something worse to drink than one of his cocktails. Go on.
A study sponsored by the soft drink industry claims diet soda helps you lose weight.
And not to be outdone, a study sponsored by Big Tobacco finds that cigarettes continue to make kids look really, really cool.
How many ex-girlfriends have I had? I drink Diet Coke because it's getting me losing weight. Not.
Really?
I can count like 5 of them. Mm-hmm.
They
I
drink
can't
Diet
get behind
Coke to lose
diet
weight?
drinks at all, but all my ex-girlfriends did, and I'm like, why do you drink that garbage? They're like, it keeps me balanced and lose the weight.
I can only drink diet soda. Because when I was a kid,
I thought you were tabbing it up right now.
Like, I at a grocery store, I was like, hey, wow, Tab. And I didn't know they still made that. I would like to buy a can, see what it tastes like. It'll be fun to post the picture of that. And they didn't have, like, just a can. So I bought a 12-pack of Tab and swallowed all of that disgusting swill just for the sake of one ironic Throwback Thursday picture. It is not good. It's basically malted battery acid. Not a fan of that. So, anywho, yeah, I can only drink diet soda though because like my mom, hippie parent, was like, no sugar, no artificial color, no artificial flavor, and the only soda that I was allowed to drink growing up because it had no artificial color and no artificial flavor was 7-Up. You remember those commercials? All these other soda pops have artificial this and that. 7-Up, all natural. That was like the calling card. So my mom went, the kid can occasionally have that when he deserves a treat once every 2 months.
What about Slice? Remember
bi-monthly,
Slice?
Oh, yeah, that stuff's not good. On a bi-monthly basis, I was allowed to have a Diet 7-Up when I'd been good. So I grew up drinking only diet soda. And now, whenever I drink soda with sugar in it, it makes my teeth feel furry, and it makes me more thirsty than when I started out. It is weird. But yeah, people that are under the impression that it's going to help them lose weight, you might have to take significantly more definitive steps in your life to get off the couch and dust the Cheetos crumbs off and maybe do a sit-up once in a while if you want it to work. A diet soda, as I found out, does not make the difference.
I guess that I should stop by saying that all of this story is true.
Now, someone who everybody wants to punch in the face. AD on the radio.
So a couple more pieces of news, Funkhauser, and then you and I will discuss exactly what happened, or what we can tell happened, with the Oregon rancher who lost his life yesterday. By the way, the poll is still up on Twitter. Is Donald Trump right to bail on the Fox News debate? Weigh in and feel free to explain why you think so. Josh says he's being a crybaby. Time for Trump says, here's a perfect reason, and it's non-Megyn Kelly related and linked me off to Breitbart. I'll read that later.
Yeah. Bookmark.
Scott Briscoe says, in debate number 1, Megyn Kelly showed her hand. Plus, he has a commanding lead. Why go? It is definitely a power move. Definitely a power move to remove yourself from the whole situation. Going like, I know politics has worked in America this way for as long as anyone can remember, but I don't need to be a part of that. And, you know, like, honestly, anytime, like, with this whole thing, the way Fox News is attempting to take a moral high ground, the fact that the debate is on Fox News and you can only watch it on Fox News, like, this stuck with me since the very first Fox News debate with Megyn Kelly, where I was just like, this is crap. This is garbage. Because, like, okay, in the place where we do radio around here, there's a bunch of TVs, a bunch in the newsroom, a bunch in every studio, and I'm there in the Rock studio going, ooh, it's debate time, let me switch it on. Well, to save money on the cable package, they didn't put Fox News in the Rock studio. I guess they realized it, or they thought it wasn't germane for people in there, given what we do, talking about Metallica and Tool and stuff like that, to watch Fox News. So it wasn't in there. So I couldn't watch it. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just watch the stream online. Nope, couldn't do it. And tried to watch it on Periscope. Nope, Fox got on those really quickly, the people that had their phone pointed at the debate so other people could watch it. And I was like, F me. I'm supposed to be a part of this political process. I pay taxes. This is supposed to be a participatory democracy. This is very important. This is an opportunity for all these candidates to get out and show their stuff, and for voters in America to be able to see their stuff and make important decisions. Yet you couldn't watch it if you didn't pay for the Fox News cable package. And I was like, that's garbage. And in the meantime, they are making money, as Trump continues to point out over and over and over again. They are making money hand over fist off of advertising. And the fact that I was excluded from watching the debate made me like, you know what? I'm at work. I can't, that week I was on West Coast time. I couldn't go. I couldn't leave. I couldn't stop what I was doing. I couldn't go home where I have the Fox. I don't even know if I have Fox News at home, but I was like, this is garbage that I can't watch this. This is crap. And this being on anything that anybody can't watch is absolutely ridiculous. It should be on every single platform for everyone to see. More people should be able to see it, not less. And the fact that it is exclusionary, and the fact that it is something that you have to pay for, and the fact that in addition to having already paid for it with the right cable package, Fox News continues to make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars off of the advertising time around the debates, sucks. Just absolute garbage. So Trump didn't bring all that up, but, as far as removing yourself from any debate that's not on something like PBS where everybody and their dog can watch it, I'm kind of with him. But it'll be interesting for sure. But anyways, the poll is up on Twitter. Feel free to weigh in. I'm curious to get your thoughts on the situation. A couple more pieces of news, Funkhauser.
The stock market dropped over 500 points at one point yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Fitting. Yeah. Fitting that it's called the 401k because 401 is now what I have left in it. Gone.
Fox News commentator Stacey Dash thinks we should get rid of things like BET, Black History Month, and the NAACP Image Awards.
Well, first and foremost, BET is that's a privately run broadcasting business. It's not a national holiday. It's not something that the government mandates. It's a business, and we're supposed to be about laissez-faire capitalism here in this country. But as far as the Black History Month and the NAACP Image Awards goes, and I would imagine the awards ceremony is another money-making venture, it seems a little ridiculous. Stacey thinks that black people should stop separating themselves and just seek out opportunity in the wider world. Well, yeah. I mean, you can kind of see where she's coming from. She saw an opportunity at Fox News to be a black person who hates black people, and she took it. It's crazy. Go on.
Well, this is really sad. Penthouse will switch to online-only issues.
Yeah. I know, man, you know what? You can love your memories of the past. You can even cling to the past a little. You can enjoy your memories of the past, but the one thing that you cannot do is you can't stop time. You can't turn back the clock. You can't impede progress. And progress is going to do things that, well, we're not always comfortable with. Progress will take away stuff that we've grown up with that's held a special place in our hearts. Up to and including nudie magazines. Like Playboy, no longer going to have naked women in it, which is strange because it's one of the cornerstones upon which Playboy was founded, naked women in magazines, but now not so much. And now Penthouse is changing too. Penthouse will switch to online-only issues, which for many reasons sucks. Not least of which because it's so much harder to fit a computer underneath my mattress. Okay.
Well, not these days. You can use a tablet.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. So, Robert Lavoie Finicum, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. If you've been following the situation with the Oregon ranchers, he's known as the tarp man. He gave interviews while sitting under a tarp with a gun in his lap. He was killed in a shootout yesterday with the FBI and Oregon State Police. This is from the Oregonian. I don't think they've confirmed it was him that passed away, that got shot and killed. But social media is saying it, and his kids have confirmed it as well, I think. How much time do we have left, Funkhauser? I don't want to rush through this.
Something like 8 minutes.
All right, good. We're in good shape. 6 of his fellow militants, like Ammon Bundy, one of the ringleaders, they were arrested as well after the deadly shootout. And, well, let's learn a little bit more about this guy. He was a rancher from northern Arizona, near the border between Arizona and Utah. And he had sort of an okay relationship with the Bureau of Land Management for most of his life. He wasn't one of these militants that was constantly trumpeting on and on about how he was being got at. And look, hey, Bureau of Land Management, there's this thing called eminent domain. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it basically means that the government, if they see fit, can take what is yours and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's not something that happens a lot, but it happens. And this is why organizations like the Bureau of Land Management are kind of, well, held in a certain amount of suspicion because they have this power that seems very, very opposed to the principles of freedom and ownership upon which America was founded. But anyways, he didn't have like a ton of beef with them. He told the St. George News last fall that he was cool with them. But he rode with Clive and Bundy during the 2014 standoff with the Bureau of Land Management. I don't know if you remember that. It was a similar sort of debate. And the thing to take away from it is this guy who is now no longer with us said, after that, in 2014, he said, after that incident, I had to do a lot of soul searching. I realized that Bundy was standing on a very strong constitutional principle, and yet here I was continuing to pay a grazing fee to the Bureau of Land Management. Now, this is what a lot of it stems from for a lot of these people, and this issue is so multi-layered, and there's so many different things going on that you can't sort of cover it all at once, because I think there are a lot of people involved in this protest, and they all had different reasons for taking part in it. And he was paying a grazing fee. He paid, what was it, $1,126, I think, yearly. Don't quote me on that one, but I think it was a yearly fee of $1,126 so that his cattle could graze on public land. There was like 17,000 acres that he was allowed to graze on. Now, this dispute centered on when he was permitted to graze, the time of year. This permit allowed 161 cattle to graze from October through May. But the Bureau of Land Management said he was found grazing his cattle on the land in August outside of the authorized period. They issued him a notice of trespass. Then, in October, a notice of proposed decision that he was in willful trespass. He'd not gone to the Bureau of Land Management office to resolve the dispute, and he had accumulated about $12,000 in fees. That's where the government gets you. It's not the charges, it's the fees. Missed a bill from the IRS for about $2,000. When it finally caught up with me, they're like, hey, you didn't pay this. I was like, $2,000? Oh, man, how did that happen? Oh, my accountant didn't look after it because he was too busy looking after Bruce Springsteen's money when I was playing Rockstar as a teenager. Well, let me look after that. $2,000. They're like, oh, no. It's been a couple of years. With fees and penalties, it's now $20,000. I was like, oh, I don't have that. Anyways, he also lost 4 foster children that had been removed from his home as a result of pressure from the feds. A lot of people said he was taking in foster children. I think he had like 50 of them. And you get money when you have foster children, and people are leveling the accusation at him that he was only sort of fostering kids for the additional income. I don't know. All I know is that this guy who really didn't necessarily have anything in the way of a serious axe to grind, but felt like he'd been poorly done by, got caught up in the enthusiasm for this. And he said, I have no intention of spending any of my days in a concrete box. When interviewed, when he was tarp man, when he got that interview, when he was sitting under a tarp and got interviewed by News, he said, I have no intention of spending any of my days in a concrete box. He said he would rather be killed than be arrested. There are things more important than your life, and freedom is one of them, and I'm prepared to defend freedom. Yeah, but we also have a process here in this country. You ever heard the expression, you can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride? All the sort of people on the right trumpeting about Blue Lives Matter, which they absolutely do, have the highest respect for cops. But what do they preach? Compliance. Compliance with the law. And here's a guy that, well, we don't know what happened. We don't know who fired first. We don't know what happened in the shootout between the ranchers and the shootout between the ranchers and the cops. But we know that a man lost his life. A man lost his life. Over what? Over what? The days of a well-regulated militia being able to take on the establishment. In a day where the establishment has air-to-ground planes that can put a bullet in every square inch of a football field in 30 seconds. Those days are over. And there's a large conversation to be had about this when we get back tomorrow. But in the meantime, a man is dead. And no matter why he's dead, that's a shame. And I wish he wasn't. And I wish things had been done differently.
You feel like it's cool to turn the other cheek and give people the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it. And sometimes you feel good about yourself for being a better person and doing that, well, this is not one of those times.